So this is class number 7, and the title is Happiness versus Satisfaction, Balanced Feelings. Let's give a little bit of a recap. Like this, we can warm up and continue to the current class. So what we spoke about until now is the seemingly contradiction that we have in life. Not seemingly, it is a contradiction that we have in life between nature and systems and expectations based on a system, based on this is how it works. That's how we live. Logical, something which is normal you do, something which makes sense you do. That's how we are, that's how we're wired. That's how we work. And then we have this belief, emunah, which is, oh, doesn't make sense, but we're going to do it anyway. Why? Where? It's like another chain of behavior, another route that is expected to take place within us. And the question is, how do you balance the two? That was really the question that we had from the beginning. How do we somehow have the awareness of the Eibishter, which the Eibishter is something which really doesn't seem to flow within logical understanding the way we're wired. It doesn't seem to flow. How do we somehow change the perspective that we have? How do we change? We should think that way, not force ourselves, not push ourselves. We should actually see things that way. It seems like, back in one of the classes we mentioned, it's like you have two kinds of people, a reserved person and an open person. An open person, you get to know who he is. She is, because they're open. You see, you get to know that, the feelings are open. Someone who's reserved, you can never know who they are. Nature seems like Hashem is reserved. Go figure out. I'm closing myself up. Go figure it out. So what do you want from me? Go to a doctor and figure it out, and then come back to me and ask me to have don't forget, there is a concept called Yediyas Hashem, not only Emunah. Yediyah means Hashem is expecting us to not only believe as in give up, I'm forcing you, just take it, hands up. We call it back then blind faith. Hashem wants us to have a colorful faith. Hashem wants us to understand, to have a perspective. But how? If you're going to be sitting like this, and you're going to have this nature mask surrounding you, how am I supposed to pierce that mask? How am I supposed to ever have some kind of other kind of attitude than the one you're expressing to me? The onus is on you, not on me. That was a question that we had until now. And that's what we're trying to somehow grapple with. We're trying to somehow pierce through this huge mask that seemingly seems impossible to penetrate. Okay, so in order to do that, the first thing we have to, whenever we approach anything, you have to isolate what's the core component within the problem, that if you change the way we see, our perception of that core component, the picture will change. You always have to try to isolate what's the core. A doctor, when they come in, diagnosis is going to say, oh, that symptom, that tells me something. You have to always isolate the core component. What's the core component within this picture? It's all nice words, nature, systems. The core component is that really true that when someone is reserved, when someone's not expressing himself, is that really true that is the person is not found, that there's a void of the person? In other words, let me rephrase that question. Let me challenge the perception we all have, which is as follows. Most people, if you ask them, and we started this last week, most people, if you ask them, they're going to tell you, what's a happy person? Where is a person found? When they're comfortable, when they can express themselves. That's what a person is. Right? That's what you ask most people. That's what they Where's a person not found? When they're in jail, when they're closed up, when they're forced to do something. So what's the ultimate happy person? I can do what I want. I'm free. Wow. No one's stopping me to do anything. That's the ultimate happy person. We're going to challenge that. We're going to challenge that perception. As a matter of fact, We're going to demonstrate. Number one, a happy person is not defined by being able to do what you want. And we're going to explain that rationally. And number two, the definition of not being able, the not being, can actually be ultimate healthy person. Has to have that. And the ultimate healthy person has to incorporate that behavior, the root of that behavior, which is not. Really, there's two things in a person. I'm not pulling myself in, and I am letting myself out. We tend to think, if I let myself out, that's where I am, period. I'm going to now demonstrate how that's not true. Number one, just by letting myself out, that's not me. That's not going to make me the ultimate happy feeling that I want. And number two, that feeling that you just talked about a second ago and you just put it aside and said, oh, that's not a human thing to pull yourself in and to not allow and to not. I'm going to show you how that is actually a tool that you need in combination with the other tool of expression. And that's what creates the ultimate balanced person. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How those two combine. Well, the first thing we got to first demonstrate is, really? Is expression really not the ultimate person? Why not? Happiness. How do most people define happiness? We have to first challenge the accepted perception of happiness before we can suggest an alternative understanding of what happiness really is. So let's challenge it. What do most people say? Oh, I'm going to express myself. I'm going to be able to I'm free. I can do that's the ultimate happiness. Let me demonstrate that with a little example. Play it out. Take a child. And really, we're all children in that sense. Take a child in camp. They have canteen. Anybody here been in camp before? That's children. No, camps. They have canteen. What's canteen? Canteen is where they sell mash, food. And as a treat to the children in camp, so they give them sometimes 10 minutes in canteen. You have 10 minutes. You can take what you want from canteen, and the kids cherish that. It's like, wow, I have 10 minutes. I can take whatever I want. Now, this is how it usually plays out, without exception. The child is bubbling with excitement. They come into the room. What am I going to take? Wow. They start taking things. 5 minutes left. No. 10. The time is up. Oh, as soon as they get out. Oh, there was one thing I forgot to take. You had 10 minutes. You got everything. No, okay, fine. We'll give you 15 minutes. There's one more thing I forgot to take. There's always going to be something else you could have had that you don't have. It doesn't end. The Gemara says, someone who has 100 wants to have 200. Okay? So, someone who has 100 wants 200. Someone who has 200 wants 400. How does this play out? There's a perhaps interesting detail in this Gemara that people don't pay attention to. Pay attention. It doesn't say Mishesh like Mana Reitza Arvemes. It doesn't say someone wants 100 wants 400. It says he wants 200. And someone wants 200 wants 400. Gemara is very, very specific. Beautiful lesson on human behavior. People want double what they have. Whatever you have, someone's going, I don't want to be a billionaire. I just want X. As soon as he has X, his landscape just expanded. So now he can see further. So he's going to want double what he has. He's always going to want double. Maya, Messiah, 100, 200, 200, 400.
Yeah, but
that doesn't end.
I mean, does that mean that just for some people enough is never enough? They're never satisfied?
Oh, what makes a person feel satisfaction? That is the question.
Simcha.
That's exactly. Simcha is a outcome. My question is how you get there. This is exactly the question. And let me, no, I want to hear the question. I want to paraphrase this. In other words, if the definition of happiness is the ability to express myself freely, I was given that ability. Well, guess what? It's a double-edged sword. If I can express myself freely, there's no end. If there's no end, I'm never happy.
There's no simcha.
There's no simcha is a feeling of satisfaction, essentially. But how? So I want to talk about what that means. Let's talk about what that means in a second. First, I want to phrase the question. I want to get to what that means. So first, again, let's phrase this question. If happiness is the ability to freely express myself, well, then I have a problem. I have a huge problem over here. I can freely express myself. That freely expressing myself is actually also going to be the reason why I'm going to stay unhappy, because so where am I going to find myself if I just continuously seeking to find myself? We say in English, the quest for happiness, seeking happiness. Well, guess what? When you seek and seek and seek, you seek more, you're never going to. So what is it that's going to make me feel happy? The question we all have. What is it really? Yeah, what's the question?
No, it was not a question. It was a comment. So there's no limit to your search. So you will always think that you're always doing less than you should be doing, like the child. So I had, 5 chocolates. I could have had 15. I could have had 20. Mm-hmm. So because there's no limit to how freely you can express yourself, when do you stop?
Very good. That's the question.
How do you know that you actually reached? And because nobody's going to tell you when is that, then you'll never know that you're actually happy.
And how do you have that within yourself? Exactly. That is the question we are now discussing. I'm freely expressing myself. Now, I want you to pay attention to the core component within the definition of happiness. What is that usually defined as? Expression. Letting myself come out. What did we just now demonstrate? How the root of a person's behavior and the way you define life is that expression is who I am. You won't find yourself. Well, guess what? You need to use the other root also. No, not that. No, not that. And we're going to get to that in a second. But the no is not no as someone else forcing me. It's me finding myself. These are nice words. We have to explain what they mean. But we have to use another root. And that's the same root as a reserved person, but in a healthy way. They're both holding yourself back. One is holding yourself back in a healthy way, and one is holding yourself back in an unhealthy way. We have to explain how that works. Okay, so we're on the same page. Let me just show you inside the paper. So we have this first point set. So what did I do in this paper? First thing is I put you 3 pictures. Put a picture of a jail, put a picture of a smiley face, and a picture of a person jogging. Why? Jail is where you can't find yourself. Someone else is forcing you not to find yourself. Smiley face, I'm happy, I'm expressing myself. That seems like it's it. Can you compare the satisfaction of the sweat of jogging? When you achieve something, you're healthier, but you sweat to do it. Or the smiley face of just expressing yourself and just being able. A different feeling. It's a satisfactory feeling. And this is just a free expression feeling. We're trying to find something similar in life. The real feeling that we seek is not the smiley face. It's the jogging. I'm just giving jogging as an example of someone who takes a task, does it, sweats to do it, accomplishes it, and feels good that they accomplished it. There's a satisfactory feeling. So I put a lot of different verbs that express these 3 phases, if you want. The first one, if you look in the 3 columns, the first one, the jail one, I call that the absence of self. It's a void. It's an outside influence on the person. Depression. You can't find yourself. That's all in the first column. Then a person has another root within themselves. I call couch happiness. Sitting on the couch happy. Relax. Couch happiness. Something. Or people obsessed with moments of happiness rather than a life of happiness, which we'll see the difference. Or enjoying an experience. Sometimes it's actually a self-imposed jail because I'm not allowing myself to really express myself, as we'll soon see. I'm just constantly seeking things. When you keep on seeking happiness, what are you really seeking? Let me see, what does the newspaper say that is good or is a great experience, and I'm going to do that great thing and that good thing. Well, let me see what they see is tasty. Maybe I have different taste buds. Maybe the taste buds of the guy who wrote that article and says that's tasty and that's a great thing to go after, maybe it doesn't fit me. Maybe he has a different lifestyle. Maybe there's 1,000 reasons why that good thing is not good for me. Not everything good is good for me. So seeking happiness, seeking goodness just for the sake that it tastes good is not necessarily going to make me feel good or feel happy. So then you need to have to say, oh, maybe it's good for him, but it's not for me. Oh, now you're using the other roots. You're able to say no. Oh, you're able to say no, you're going to get somewhere. Now we're going somewhere. You can't just say yes. Started with this last time, and we're continuing with this. You can't just say yes. You have to be able to say no. If you can't say no, guess what? You don't got a yes either.
Because the yes is not a real yes.
Because the yes is not real. The yes is based on someone else. It's not yours. You're unique. We gave an example last time of everybody has their unique talents. Mathematician, a scientist, a visionary, a artist can daydream, can seems like they're daydreaming, but they're really envisioning things, Steve Jobs had the daydream to get to where he is. Yeah, where he was.
Einstein, there's a quote from Einstein. He says that when people daydream, their mind is growing.
Very good. Beautiful. I never heard that quote before. Thank you.
Well, that's true, because like some maybe autistic children that don't have the imagination, they can't daydream, and they never grow. So
I'm not familiar.
I think it does propel us forward.
Daydreaming can definitely be misinterpreted.
Yeah.
And there's no question that a visionary can sometimes be the perception of some of his character might be, oh, he's just a daydreamer. He's just below. He's just a below. He's totally not.
Yeah, and the Naveem.
But really, today you don't have to go so far. Today, an artist is someone who's like thinking. We all think from time to time. We're thinking. No, 1 second, I'm thinking. We do that. Now, let's say a teacher turns around to a student. He's an artist. I brought this example last time. It doesn't stop daydreaming. No, focus on the math. Focus on. He wants to. He means well. He wants the student to really grow with the math. Is he helping him? He's giving the goodness of math. But this student, has a unique goodness. Develop his talent. Develop who he is. Not everything good out there. It's good to know math. And he's going to be happy, probably, in the end, for sure, by having that skill. But don't underestimate this student. And don't put him in someone else's shoes. He's not you, Mr. Teacher. You are expressing yourself through math. He is going to express himself through another talent. Don't impose. You have to be able to hold yourself back. See who he is. We all have to use that holding back. Guess what? In Chassidus terminology. So there's another terminology for this, and that is like this. When a person is able to hold themselves back, they're limiting themselves. Right? When a person is expressing themselves, there's no end. And listen to the beautiful depths of how we're defining a person, and in turn this is going to be the same thing by Hashem. The ability to hold myself back is more me than the ability to express myself. Because I'm allowing myself to really discover myself. That's where I find myself. If I don't have the ability to say no, I'm not going to be able to find myself. So what's really me? What's really going to find who I am? The ability to hold back. The ability, koyach hagvul, and koyach habli gvul Gvul and bli gvul, these terminologies in Chassidus, holding yourself back, and bli gvul means freely expressing, they're both equally part of you. The example given is two hands. When I say a bracha, so men have to cover themselves with a yarmulke to say a bracha. So can you put your hand on your head as a cover? No, you can't, because the hand is part of you. So Chassidus explains, gvul and bli gvul, the ability to hold yourself back and the ability to express yourself are both equally hands. Two hands, two roots that are part of how you express yourself. Part of expressing yourself is being able to say no. You can't say no, you're not healthy. Here, we're suddenly attacking the real core of all problems. What do we start off? Let me go back a second.
You said covering that sometimes Chassidim say bracha, they do put their hand on their head.
On the yarmulke.
Yeah, on the yarmulke.
On the yarmulke, not on the head itself.
Right.
In other words, if there's already a cover, so you can use it as a second cover, because it's on a different, it's not you on yourself, it's you on a yarmulke. But you can't,
Substitute.
like
you cannot substitute them.
yourself or your, exactly.
So
it was almost like a child.
I've seen it many times.
What?
With this.
On top of a yarmulke.
No.
On top of a head.
Yeah, where I grew up. Yeah.
Yeah. People don't realize it's not, because it's you.
So how does that relate to the shtei and
The same idea, because it's equally me. It's equally me when I am saying no to myself. I'm not hiding. That's me. It's not hiding. That's me. Both of my hands are equally expressing myself. They're both two hands. They're both part of me of how, when that person says, no, that's not my kind of thing. When the child who's a dreamer says, I know I have another thing. No, math is not really my thing. I have to discover something unique. They say today the college children can never find themselves. They're like all over the place until they find themselves, what they want to do in life. They're going to make already 26 out of college until they figure out what they want to do, right? Because it's a problem. You have to figure out. But if a student, if someone, that's not me. That's a good thing. Saying that's not me is part of finding me, not part of not finding. Good. So now there's a famous saying in Pirkei Avos, "Ezahu asher hasameach bechalto." You know what that means? Usually people have a big problem with this. The literal translation is, who's a rich man? Someone who's content. Really? So does that mean ambition is a contradiction to being happy? Usually people translate, who's happy? The person's content. It's not content. Content means that you're not going to go for more. You're not going to have that ambitious drive. We're trying to squash an ambitious drive of a person. Sameach bechalta means finding your chilek. Find what you are good at, not someone else's. Chelko. He's happy with his unique self. That's real happiness. Satisfaction is when you discover your chilek, your portion, your uniqueness, your unique self that differentiates you from the rest of the world. That is real happiness. That's satisfaction. Because it's me. There's nothing like being yourself. And stop copying others.
You said, is ambition contradictory?
It's not a contradiction now. Because you're ambitious within yourself. Rather than the way most people translate it in a shallow meaning is, I'm just happy with whatever
I got.
With whatever I have.
Well, those people don't think much.
Correct, but this is how most people translate this Mishnah. Most people translate this Mishnah, and they have a problem with this Mishnah because so I can't be ambitious. This question comes up all the time whenever you learn this Mishnah. I'm sure you've come across it yourself.
Translation is like hindsight. You see only something.
Correct.
You can't identify it. There's no face there.
Correct.
Rabbi, I have a question about the physical part. Your Kelly.
Yeah.
So you say it can apply to professions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can it be? So let's say doctors, right? Everybody has something unique about them, but there's so many doctors, so all of them have something that they share this uniqueness. In other words, it's not that unique to you what you have. You have you're sharing it with many other people who might have the same playlist that you do.
You need last night's class here. Last night's class would do
Yeah,
well
I
with,
addressed this a little last time. Well, let me address your question. It's a very good question. What she's asking, she's saying last night I had a class that I talked about this a little bit. Yeah, because this is a very important question that you're asking. The uniqueness of an individual and how that plays out. Your question applies in many other places too. Many of us have a uniqueness. What's unique? What's really unique? Am I really unique? Why am I unique? And what makes me unique? You know? Seem very similar to the others.
Or I am a doctor, there's $1,000. I'm my teacher, there's 1,000 teachers. So what would that be?
What makes me unique? First of all, it's not just the professional part of us. It doesn't necessarily define us. Even within the doctor, an example that you gave, some doctors have a better bedside manner. Yes. Some doctors have a better communication. Some doctors are more punctual. See how many components there are?
Yeah.
Some doctors
don't care.
Care and don't care. Some doctors are just blunt, some doctors are not. So you can see there's room for uniqueness within a doctor as well. It's not just simply doctor. What makes a good doctor? Some doctors learn from their experience, from their mistakes. Some don't. Some doctors allow helpers. Some don't. So much in any profession that really is a reflection of a person's character, of a person's personality. There's no real definition of a profession. Oh, I'm a doctor. Hi, Uncle. Hi, Shmuel. Both doctors. No. There's something. How does a person go into medicine? They're learning from their experience. They're learning from that. They're constantly learning. A real doctor is never satisfied and is learning from what happened and becomes a better doctor than he was a year ago. And if he doesn't become better, he's becoming worse. So you see there's room to be better. So there is uniqueness. There is a uniqueness. We have to learn to look at ourselves as an individual that's 100% unique, otherwise we wouldn't be put here. Why would Hashem put us here? There's something 100% unique in every single person that's not found in anyone else. There's something there in that person, period. The more we incorporate that mindset, the more we change our lives in the sense how we look at ourselves and others. And Hashem, and everything else. But that's as far as your question is concerned, right? There's a uniqueness. So, yeah.
They even say that when you have an identical twin or triplets, that you should dress them differently and try to separate them.
So they should find their uniqueness.
School and things like
Very
that.
good. Very good. Again, in other words, to encourage them to stop looking. That's a very good point. Twins are probably more inclined to not see the uniqueness that they have. They're blinded by it because they're twins. I'm twins. Who am I?
They learn
I'm Yankel's twin.
We learn by copying.
And not only, but they're born together, so they kind of have like a complex. So who am I?
Oh,
I'm born together with him. What's the difference? A second later.
They come in a package.
They come in a package. They're not unique.
We had twins in the class. Something that was happening with the other one felt it. She coughed and was a hint to the other.
Yeah.
They're like kind of part of each
So
other.
that's why it's more challenging for them to see their individuality. So what you mentioned is tips how to encourage them to see their uniqueness. Again, because there is a uniqueness. There has to be a uniqueness. Very good. Because there has to be something unique. And there's something unique. Every single person. Okay. Good. So what do we have?
It's not considered a healthy way to be in a symbiotic relationship.
100%. It's not a healthy human being to look at yourself as just another person. That's not healthy. That's not who we are. We are unique. Find your uniqueness. That's the problem with basing a person's life on the statistics of society. Really. And the statistics of society, what are they based on? Taking 100 people, but they're 100 people so on happiness. Medicine perhaps is different. Medicine is medicine. And even in that, they find differences in people, and it doesn't work at everybody and everything, and that's why you have to have a doctor. Otherwise, it will be robotic. This works on you. This doesn't work on you. I mean, there's just so many different variations, right? Because in the end, and an alternative doctor will tell you that every single person is different, right? That's how they tell you.
Dumb.
But it
It's
still
dumb,
makes
baby.
everybody the same. That's right. Every person is individual, as a human and as a Jew. Every single person. Good. So let's summarize. What are we looking to focus over here? What are we looking to build up? Again, back to the original goal of this class. We came into this class with the perception that the ultimate happiness is the ability to express yourself. And the ultimate absence and void of self, I can't. No, I don't want to say no. I want to say yes. And now we look at things differently. No. I would say the ultimate unhealthy person is the one who's always saying yes.
So is
The other way around. The healthy person is the one who's saying yes.
So is that the idea of lo sase and sase?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of a relationship with Hashem is the no's and the yeses. That's how we develop the true Jewish self. The lo sases, the no's that we have in Judaism, some people look at it as some outside authority telling me what not to do. Who are you to tell me what not to do? I want to do that. I want to. Happiness is being able to do. He tells me no, I want to. That's not fair. You're squashing my feelings. You have many times it's come up in conversations. Comes up in conversations how the therapist is going to say it's healthy for you to express yourself. You need to express yourself. Let me challenge that. Beautiful idea. What's the therapist going to say? If you're upset, express it. Don't keep it in. Keep it in and get bother yourself up. Look how Torah looks at something. This actually has a source in Torah to express yourself. Shiva house. You know why we have Shiva? Mm-hmm. After a person passes away, we have 7 days of mourning. Because the Torah recognizes that there's a certain level of frustration, of sadness that a person has within themselves at such a time in their life. And they need to have 7 days to mourn, to let go of it. But it's 7 days, not 8 days. The 8th day, you let go. There's a time for, otherwise you'll be depressed. There's a time for an expression. There's a framework for an expression. Let me give you a different example. Give you one more example.
Yeah.
And that is when a person's angry. You know what the Torah says?
Chapul.
Don't say something right away. Wait. I want to express myself. You'll express yourself, you get angrier. Wait 10 minutes and then you'll express yourself. You don't have the right balance to express yourself at the moment. You're just letting go. Hold back. Oh, you see how we're always using both expression and holding back? That's a healthy person. One more example. The Torah says a single person. Torah has certain parameters on the behavior of a single person versus a married person. Some therapists will say, what do you mean? If they have feelings while they're single, they should be just like they're married, just they're single. What's the difference? The Torah is going to say that's not healthy. In the long term, that's not healthy. That's not the kind of feeling you need to express right now. That's not the kind of... It's healthier for you to have it at a certain time. Talk, engage, get to know someone. There are different things that belong in certain times. So holding back is bad? No. You put it in the right time, you're cementing a proper healthy relationship. You put it in the wrong time, you can disrupt a healthy relationship later on. And you don't really realize it. Like you think you're just expressed, you don't realize what you're doing. So you see how you have to have a balance. A balance between letting and not. Yeah.
There's the whole thing with death and letting go. I mean, you said 8 days after the Shiva, then you're supposed to kind of...
I was extreme. I didn't mean to say that. The 8th day, it's
no, I know.
It goes away. What I meant to say is you go back to work. 7 days you don't work.
Okay.
And you need to have those 7 days you don't work. Shiva is a time. We're even more extreme in the world. Shiva is a time when we don't work. We simply leave your job and you're obsessed 7 days only thinking about the niftar, the person who passed away. The world doesn't do that. The world doesn't have a time to mourn. When a person does that properly, they don't feel like they want to continue. They feel like they let it out. It's not that we're forcing you to stop on the 8th day. We're simply telling you this is how the human body works. This is the normal time it takes for a person to let go of something. There's actually 7 days of happiness after a person gets married. Where a person is supposed to be joyful and not work and not do anything. Simply rejoice with your bride, with your husband, whatever it may be.
But some people never get over the death of their spouse.
Usually,
Never.
Many of those people never had 7 days of mourning. A healthy person with 7 days of mourning, no one can get over the passing of anyone. But there's a difference if he had 7 days of mourning and he had that ability to sit and talk and sit with his family for 7 days. I remember hearing stories of someone who continuously had crying and they never had 7. They took and I don't remember where I heard. They took 7 days and they said, I'm going to mourn now for 7 days. They had the ability to express themselves. Think about it this way. Person, Nebach, Leoleh, goes through. It happens sometimes in life. A loved one passes on. You need time. You can't just go back to work the next day. You're a person. You're a human. Look at Torah. Look how beautiful Torah is. Torah says, stop. You're a human. 7 days, mourn that person. Let go of everything else. You're not going to be able to go back to your normal self without doing that. If you do that properly, you mourn. You were able to. You dealt with it. Feeling. Not ignored it and not squashed it. So you don't have to continuously set aside time and mourn. We have Yizkor. We have different times of the year where we also set aside time to mourn. We have Kaddish for the first 11 months. There are other things that are set in motion that continuously remind us. We have stuckus that we do for the person. We do things in their memory, but it's not 7 days of mourning. It's not that intense. Inner grief can express itself further in other areas. It expresses itself in the Kaddish, in the yard side. It expresses itself. It expresses itself in things that we do in the memory of the person who passed away. But 7 days of mourning, think about it. It's a beautiful thing. You ever thought about Chazal understood a person? It's a beautiful thing. Well, let's not get sidetracked. Okay,
Wait,
so that's what we have.
You mentioned something about the married and the non-married, and you went very quickly. What were you trying to say when you said there's a time for everything and sharing your life with somebody else? What's that mean if a person you started?
Simply put, in simple English, it means the relationship itself takes place after marriage.
Relationship.
Living with someone is after marriage, not before marriage.
Oh, is that what you're trying to say? Yeah. So how does that relate to our
Because therapists might tell you what do you mean. They have a feeling. They let them first live with each other. Try it out. And Torah says, Torah discourages that. Torah says that's not the way a human should work. You don't try your life out. You live your life. You live your life. It won't work over there. You can try to talk to someone, get along, but trying that out is when you live with them. Period. Because that is how it works. Otherwise, it's not you. But that's another discussion.
I'm a little older than some of you, and I was before the pill and after the pill. And with the advent of technology, it gave people license to try things safely without getting involved. And this opened up a lot of Pandora boxes for people and gave them a disillusionment about what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing.
Very good. So you brought on another way. Very good. Very good. That's what I'm trying to say in other words. Okay, so let's summarize what we learned over here. Okay, we're getting closer to the end of the class. Let's summarize what we learned over here. Again, the whole point and the theme of this class is to show you in life, many areas of life, whether it's in profession, whether it's in English, wherever you need, there's two routes of life. expression and holding back. And the point of this class was to show you satisfaction. A balanced person needs to have both groups. The 3 pictures I gave in the beginning is like symbolic of this class. J-O, yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. That's unhealthy. Pure expression, smiley face, it's unhealthy. Jogging is what we look for. What's jogging? Jogging is expressing, but I'm expressing myself. And in order to do that, I have to hold back. So 1 second. The Abishter is the same thing. The Abishter created the world.
Holding back?
It's sweating. It's uncomfortable. You know, I like to give the joke. You see a person running in the street. What happened? So is it someone chasing you? Is it armed robbery? What happened? No, it's my morning jog. I'm actually loving my morning jog. I'm not running away from anybody. You can see the same person, and some person looks at him. What happened? Another person says, "Oh, what do you mean? I'm loving it. He's sweating. He looks like no, he loves it. Why? Because not always is sweat your enemy. Not always is not being able to do something your enemy. Sometimes it's your best friend. Discomfort. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to highlight.
Can I interrupt you? The example of jogging or any type of activity, if it doesn't lead to the next step, to a purpose, okay? Why am I jogging? To get healthier. Why are you getting healthier?
Correct.
It becomes an addiction.
Correct. So that's
there are
why
people that cannot let go of the jogging.
You're right. The core of jogging, the way I highlight it, is the health. If it becomes I'm not aware
today
of
we don't move.
Okay, exactly. I'm not aware of jogging becoming an addiction. It could be. Maybe I don't
jogger,
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe it's just to jog for the sake of jogging, almost like wanting money for the sake. Okay, perhaps.
There isn't. It's hard to really
could
do
be
his
perhaps
finance when one is jogging fast. So he's jogging and he becomes like a robot.
Perhaps I'm not aware of the jogging becoming an addiction, perhaps. But the point I'm trying to bring out is that the health component is driving you, and therefore the discomfort is not discomfort, but it's actually a tool to really have you, to really be able to own yourself. That's the key word, own. I put the word owning yourself under jogging. Owning, that is only if you say no. The Abish is the same thing. The Abish created this world he wanted. It had a purpose. So the no in him not being found here, as we will see further on, is actually not a no as in jail, that he's reserved as in jail. It's a different no. He's allowing us to own him. Now we'll see how that plays out with the Abish. But the no is not the regular no. First thing we have to understand is no. Don't look at Abish and say, he's reserved, he's not here, he's no. No. It's not no. When a teacher looks at a student who's a talented artist, and he says, no, math is not for you. You're being so mean to me. No, I'm helping you. No is not always your enemy. No might be your best friend. And we'll see how that no plays out with Abishter. First you have to see how it is in life. First you have to see perspective. It's all about how we see things. If we're always going to see a no as an enemy, we'll never be able to look at nature differently. Now that we see in our own life how we need a no and we need a yes, and both of them together are the balance to a healthy person, we're going to slowly be able to adapt that perspective and see the same thing in the world above. First, we need to see that ourselves. Now, the class today was to highlight how we see that in our life. Again, let me just highlight that again. No in our life empowers us.
So the challenges empower us.
Challenges are going to empower us. The challenges are going to be how
the stepping stones.
We're going to see a different
world.
We'll see that later. But I'm going to finish on time. We'll finish on time.